We are counting down the top 10 deadliest gunslingers who ruled the lawless frontiers of the American West. From unpredictable outlaws forged by war to notorious lawmen who made violence their badge of honor. Each entry is ranked by documented kills, infamous encounters, and the legends that outlived them. Which shooters truly earned history's deadliest reputation? Let's begin our countdown with number 10. Clay Allison rode out of the Civil War with a shattered skull and a reputation for wild, unpredictable violence. Newspapers in the 1870s called him the most feared man in New Mexico territory, though court records rarely caught up to his trail. By most estimates, Allison killed at least 15 men, some say more than 20, but few of those deaths ever saw a judge. In 1874, he shared a tense meal with outlaw Chunk Colbert, then shot him dead as Colbert's tried to pull a gun. Allison later said, "I wouldn't want to send a man to hell on an empty stomach." He survived countless gunfights, only to die in 1887 after falling from a wagon and breaking his neck, his legend outpacing the facts in every frontier town. John King Fisher cut a striking figure along the Rio Grande, riding out in tailored vests and silver spurs while leading a gang of rustlers from the age of 16. Travelers who risked his territory met a blunt warning nailed to a tree that read, "This is King Fisher's road, take the other." Violence was his currency. Texas courts estimated 7 to 12 men died by his hand, but more feared his organized grip than his gun. In 1878, juries let him walk free despite murder charges, unwilling to cross a man with such power. Fisher's end came in a darkened theater box on March 11, 1884, when hidden gunmen opened fire. He never drew his pistol. The ambush left Fisher and Ben Thompson dead, their killers shielded by silence and the uneasy alliance between outlaws and lawmen. Dallas Stoudenmire strode into El Paso as city marshal in April 1881, carrying 2 heavy pistols and a reputation for deadly precision. On his very first day, gunfire erupted outside the Globe restaurant. In less than 5 seconds, Stoudenmire drew both guns and fired into the chaos, dropping 3 men, 1 a bystander, and then finished a wounded suspect who tried to escape. Coroner records and newspaper reports confirmed the carnage. 4 dead, all before the smoke cleared. Over just 14 months, Stoudenmire tallied at least 8 confirmed kills as a lawman, bringing a violent city to heel with unmatched speed and nerve. Tom Horn brought a new kind of terror to the frontier. As a range detective for Wyoming's cattle barons, he stalked his targets from hundreds of yards away, waiting in silence with his Winchester rifle. Ranchers paid handsomely for his skills. Horn's reputation for single-shot ambushes at 200 yards or more left rustlers and rival shepherds living in constant fear. Estimates of his kill count run from 17 to over 50, but the truth remains tangled in legend and secrecy. In 1903, Horn was hanged for the murder of 14-year-old Willie Nickel. The trial relied on a drunken confession and shaky evidence, leaving historians divided over whether justice was served or a convenient scapegoat was put to death. Horn's legacy is a cold calculation, death delivered from the shadows, and a conviction that still stirs debate. Ben Thompson brought a rare polish to the gunfighter's world, a British-born gambler in tailored suits, equally at home at the card table or on the streets of Austin. Named city marshal in 1876, Thompson kept the peace with a steady hand and a reputation for walking straight into danger. His calm before a gunfight was legendary, his composure never shaken, and the press dubbed him the most dangerous man in Texas. Court records and newspaper accounts credit him with at least 32 kills, yet he was tried for murder only once and acquitted. Thompson's blend of charm, style, and deadly skill made him both a celebrity and a marked man. His life ended in a hail of bullets on March 11, 1884. John Ringo stood apart on the frontier, a gunslinger who quoted Latin and Greek, and who carried a college education into the saloons of Tombstone. As a leader of the Cowboys between 1880 and 1882, he inspired both loyalty and fear. Yet the stories of his violence rarely matched the cold facts. Court records and local papers credit him with 6 to 8 kills, but most of his legend was built on rumor and reputation. In January 1882, a confrontation with Doc Holliday nearly ended in a duel, only for the law to intervene at the last moment. Months later, Ringo's story ended beneath an oak in Turkey Creek Canyon. He was found with a single gunshot to the head, his revolver still in hand. The Cochise County inquest called it suicide, but whispers of murder have never faded, leaving Ringo's fate as mysterious as his life. Wild Bill Hickok strode into Western legend with a pair of Colt Navy pistols and a gambler's nerve. In 1865, the public square of Springfield, Missouri, became the stage for one of the most famous duels in frontier history. Hickok faced Dave Tutt at a distance of 75 yards, an impossible shot by most standards. A single bullet from Hickok's revolver struck Tutt through the heart, dropping him where he stood. Newspapers from Missouri to New York splashed the story across their pages, and the name Wild Bill became a national sensation. Over a 20-year career, Hickok tallied at least 36 confirmed kills, most as a lawman in towns like Abilene, where his marksmanship and icy resolve kept order amid chaos. Fame followed him onto the stage with Buffalo Bill Cody's Wild West show, where he played himself before sold-out crowds. But fame brought danger. On August 2nd, 1876, in Deadwood, Dakota Territory, Hickok was shot from behind while holding a poker hand of aces and eights. The dead man's hand became a symbol of bad luck, and the legend of Wild Bill Hickok was sealed in blood and myth. Wyatt Earp's legend was forged in the smoke and chaos of Tombstone's most infamous gunfight. On the morning of October 26, 1881, Earp, his brothers, and Doc Holliday faced off against the Cowboys behind a narrow lot near the OK Corral. In just 30 seconds, more than 30 shots shattered the silence. 3 men fell dead, and the rest scattered. Witness testimony and the coroner's inquest confirm Earp fired the first fatal blast with a shotgun at close range, a tactic he favored for its stopping power in tight quarters. Unlike the flamboyant duels of other gunfighters, Earp's approach was cold and methodical. He closed distance, fired without hesitation, and pressed his advantage until the fight ended. Surviving ambushes and assassination attempts during the 1882 Vendetta ride, Earp's reputation grew as both lawman and avenger. While his documented kill count stands at 8 or more, historians agree many deaths went unrecorded in the confusion of frontier justice. Earp outlived nearly every rival, dying quietly in Los Angeles in 1929. His story bridged the blood-soaked West and the dawn of the Hollywood myth, making him the last of the old breed to walk into legend by natural causes. Jesse James learned violence young, riding with Confederate guerrillas through the blood-soaked woods of Missouri. At just 16, he joined William Quantrill's Raiders, where ambush and execution became daily routine. On September 27, 1864, Jesse and his brother Frank helped lead the Centralia Massacre, when 22 unarmed Union soldiers were lined up and gunned down, their bodies left in the dirt as a warning. After the war, Jesse carried those tactics into peacetime, turning Missouri's chaos into opportunity. In 1866, he and his gang stormed the Clay County Savings Association in Liberty, Missouri, pulling off the first daylight bank robbery in American history. $60,000 vanished, and the press soon branded him an outlaw hero. Over 16 years, Jesse's gang robbed trains and banks from Iowa to Texas, leaving at least 17 dead in their wake, though some say the true count is far higher. His story ended not in a shootout, but with a single gunshot fired by Robert Ford, a trusted gang member. On April 3, 1882, As Jesse adjusted a picture in his St. Joseph home, Robert Ford shot him in the back of the head. Newspapers called it betrayal, and folk songs turned Jesse into a legend. But the facts remain. His violence was born in war, refined in crime, and ended with a friend's bullet. John Wesley Hardin's story began on the raw Texas frontier. He was the son of a Methodist preacher, but violence found him early. At just 15 in 1868, he shot his first man, a freedman named Mage, claiming self-defense in a world still reeling from the Civil War. By 16, he faced down 3 Texas state police officers in a single deadly standoff, leaving all 3 dead. Over the next decade, his name became a byword for bloodshed, with court files and newspaper headlines tracking a trail of bodies from county to county. Hardin's own autobiography would boast of killing 44 men, but state records confirm at least 42, the highest documented tally of any gunfighter in Western history. His violence was as unpredictable as it was relentless. In one notorious episode, Hardin fired through a hotel ceiling at a man whose snoring kept him awake. The first shot startled the sleeper, the second ended his life. The law finally caught up to him in 1877 after an 8-year manhunt. Sentenced to 17 years in Huntsville prison, Hardin turned to the law itself, filling notebook after notebook with legal studies and appeals. Upon release, he was sworn in as an attorney, but old habits and old enemies never left him far behind. On August 19, 1895, while rolling dice in an El Paso saloon, Hardin was shot from behind by John Selman, a local constable. The man who survived more gunfights than any other in the West died without a chance to draw. His legend lives on in court records and prison files, a grim testament to the deadliest hand ever dealt on the frontier. Across all 10 gunslingers, one pattern stands out. In the Wild West, survival demanded both violence and reputation. Each man's legacy is built as much on myth as on bullets. The frontier's deadliest lesson is this: power faded fast, but legends, however bloody, remain. Which legacy shocked you most? Let us know below.